Let us open in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts for giving us your word, the Bible. Help us to learn how to meditate on your word day and night. Help us to do all that is written in your word. Give us the ability to read, understand, and hide your word in our hearts. In your precious Son, Jesus' name, amen. Paraphrase from Joshua 1:8. The book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Let's make a triptych, which is a trifold journal, and we are going to make it just like this. What are we making it out of? 1 envelope, 2 envelopes, 3 envelopes, and a manila folder. Let's look at this triptych. I made this a few months ago. This papers in this kit are from Twisted Paper Studios, and this is her idea, and I just followed her idea. I love the way it looks. It's just so gorgeous, front and back. So here is the front, the little tuck in here into like a ticket. And here's where the point goes that actually you don't need to tie it. I just like the sorry ribbon. And you open it up like that, opens up to the big point. And as I said, it's three envelopes. Here's the first envelope, here's the second envelope, and here's the third envelope is the backing. And how I finished mine was I created a pocket on the outside envelope. There's 2 pockets, stacked pockets right here, stacked little tuck spots. I added a signature for lots of journaling. Can see all of that. The back of that, here's another double tuck, 1, 2, stacked with 2 tags. I opened this envelope into the center and have a giant tag in there that you can journal on the back. Let's make sure I get that in there. Then if you go back this way, oh, no, that goes in there, that goes there, that goes there. We tuck that back, but let's look at the back of the journal, which is stunning. Another long, pointy flap, and again, 1, 2 tuck spots for tickets. Backgrounds. So let's go ahead and start building this triptych. So what you want to start with are 2 regular legal size envelopes, okay? And those are a regular legal size, which is 4 1/8 by 9 1/2. And then what you might not have, so you could just, if you don't have this envelope, you can use a piece of manila folder. This size is a number 12 business envelope, and it's 4 3/4 by 11 tall. So what do we do with that? How do we do it? First, you want to seal this. We're going to totally seal this up, and I think I'm going to use the glue stick for this. So let's seal this closed. You could also use scrapbook paper, I would say use some cardboard if you're not going to use an envelope. This envelope will get pretty stiff because of course we're going to cover it. And then we are going to add these envelopes, 1 to each side. And pretty much you want to line those up along the bottom. Okay, we're going to add that, but hold on a second. Before I add those, I want to actually cover the inside, because do you see what happens? You have a choice. So you can either cover the insides now and then we insert them, which would mean that you're leaving this pocket open here, which is what I did in my first example. But it's really hard to get in and out from the inside. So I think what I'm going to do is change this and have the pocket excuse me, be open on both outsides. So in that case, we can go ahead and seal this up. So that's the choice you need to decide. Okay, because if we go ahead and stick this on there now, when I put my piece of paper on to cover it, it's going to cover that whole thing and you're not going to see that. Okay, so I'm going to, let's move the file folder real quick. I'm going to glue this. Glue that, and as I said, we are going to match up the bottom so that it's straight across the bottom, and this just goes right to the edge of the fold so that it will flip over naturally, easily. Okay, do the second one. This journal comes together really quickly. And we'll line that up right on the very edge again. Remember, just go to the very edge so there's a slight spot that the envelope can then fold. And there we have that one, and we have that one. So there's the basis of this journal. How simple is that? What we're going to do is we are going to trim, as I mentioned, we're going to have our pockets opening on the outside of this journal. So you want to trim literally a hair. Okay, you're just really cutting these open. So we are going to, well, I'm having a problem again because I have carpal tunnel in this hand with the scissors. It's not wanting to bend the way I want it to bend. Now we have, this one is open, yes. Let's do the same with this one. Gonna go ahead and trim that. As I said, just by a hair. You can see it's a hair. Look what I cut off, which is basically nothing. And we've got both of those. How quick and easy is that? The next part we are going to do is we have to make the flap that comes over and comes to a point. So I'm going to open this up, get my cutting board out. Hold on one second. First, it will be much easier if I just trim this off and just work with 1/2 at a time. And that didn't want to cut right, did it? Okay. Just set this to the side. And as I mentioned, this is 4 3/4 wide. So we know that's going to be the width. And I want the point to come down to about here. So now you need to have a pencil available to make some marks on here as we measure things. So pretty much I want the point. And actually, wouldn't it be easier, Diane, if you just measured this? Yes, it would. Okay, let's take a look at this. This will make it easier. So what I've done is I've cut this whole piece, and you can see I used washi tape on it to attach it really well. What we're going to do is we're going to have two score lines. You can see I've left a little bit so that it closes over the thickness of it. So the actual length from here to where the point starts is, let's go from there to, it is 5.5. So we are going to, we know that it's 4 3/4 wide. So let's mark that 4.5. I said 4 3/4, is it? Yes, it is. It's 4 3/4. So let's mark 4 3/4. Come down, mark it again, 4 3/4. And then what I said was 5.5. So we are going to come down here to 5.5, which is pretty much right there. We're going to come down to 5.5. And this is going to be this part from here to here. That's what the 5.5 is. And then this is how long? From where that is, which is in the very middle of this, to where my point is almost 6 inches. So we know what we need to do then is to find the middle of 4 3/4, which would be, oh, I'm so bad at this. Actually, there's an easier way to do this. Let's trim this length, and then you'll see there's an easier way if you don't do math real well. Like, I don't know how to divide 4 3/4 in half in my head. I guess I should have done that before I started the video, but I didn't. So there we go. We've got our piece. Here's the piece that we're going to be using, okay? And we know that it's going to come down to, okay, hold on one second. That's not as far as I want. It's going to be sewn right there. It's going to be folded and come down. And then we want to come down 6 from there. So, see, I did this, but I did it a couple months ago. So, basically almost to the very end. So, if one way to do it would be to say this is the center. The other way I was going to show you was if we were to kind of semi-fold it in half, and hopefully this will work. Semi-fold it in half, right? I can then make a mark, which is on the half point. So if I made that, it would be right there, right there. Then I would take and mark a line all the way across. And then I'm just going to draw 2 lines and do it in pen. Okay, I didn't have the pencil out far enough. There we go. Okay, now that I know that's the middle, all I have to do is make a triangle from there. And again, this is all in pencil, so if when I'm done it doesn't look right, we'll just redo it. There would be my first angle, and here would be the second. Now that you're just making a triangle, if you remember from geometry. Okay, does that look right? It does look right to me, so that actually works pretty well. So let's trim this now. And again, it's a manila file folder, and so if you didn't make it straight or whatever doesn't come out right, you can just redo it. There we go. That actually worked fairly well. So we want to add this on the back, and we're going to add it with at least like 1/2 inch. Let's try at least that much. Okay. And to do that, I want to score it. So let me get my scoreboard. I'm going to score it. I think I just like being scored. It makes my life easier folding it. So I've got 1/2 inch. As I said, I wanted 1/2 inch. I am not doing well with my hand today. Ooh. When I say, oh, it's because it's screaming in pain. Okay, I did 1/2 inch, and we've got that done, okay? So we've scored that. Excuse me. Now, I'm just going to come over here in the middle. It might be easier. I'm not turning my hand so much. Okay, so let's put that score mark at somewhere. And then we are going to do another, let's see. Hold on one second. Let me see what I have here. So I've got this, which is 1/2 inch. Should I do another 1/2 inch? Yes, I think that will be better. So we're going to come down. It doesn't matter the number on here because you're just doing 1/2 inch scoring is all you're trying to do. Okay. So we've got that scored. So you want to score. That was 1/2 inch, and that's 1/2 inch. And you'll see why in 1 second, why we wanted to do it that way. So the first one is folded over, and let's go ahead and fold the second place. And what that does is, see, it gives us this little bit, do you see like that? It gives us that little bit. So when we add all these parts in the middle of this, it will fold over and fold nicely. So we are going to add that to the back, and then that will be our fold. This time I'm going to use the glitter glue because I want it to be really strong. So let's turn that to there. Let's put the glue on here. Lots of glitter glue. Glitter glue lasts forever. I don't know that they say it's archival, but it just lasts forever. So I just heard the other day that you have to think through. Actually, that's the front. This is the back. You want to think through if you're going to use the glue stick, because it supposedly may not last that long. Then again, this is all paper, so however long it lasts to me is however long God needs it to last. Okay, there we go. So that will come like that, and that works just pretty perfect, I think. And we'll have the little tuck spot for where that will go. So we've got this part done. Let me close that back up real quick. So you've got the basic triptych done. We're going to cover this and cover this completely, so we don't have to worry about that. This is our center, and we've got our first, this is our cover. So this is the cover of this. And the back, let's take a look at our template. The back, I made another one. I just made it a lot smaller. So this one, that's a 1/2 inch. So okay, so that is only 2 3/4 down and then to a point. Let's see if we can duplicate that. Okay, so still the same width. So is this going to be wide enough? No, I have to go back to this full piece. So let's cut another piece, and I don't have this cut straight, so let's do that first. Cut this nice and straight. Yeah. Now I know we're on the right spot, and now we need 4 3/4. Oh, I could have just put it on here and done that. Yes, I could, Diane. I don't have to mark it. I can just use this. 4 1/2, 4 3/4. There we go. We'll use that. Make sure it's straight. And these are just leftover pieces. Sometimes you can use those leftover pieces to back a tag to make sure you have a nice sturdy tag. Okay, so here's our 4 1/4. We're going to come down about to where the tops of the envelopes are. Okay, and so let's mark 1/2 inch, as we did before, and we're going to score that. So we'll score it at 1/2 inch. And then I said it was, what was the dimensions? I'll have all the dimensions showing on this video as you're watching it. I said it came down, what did I say? 2 3/4. That's what it was. Okay, so we're going to come down 2 3/4. There's that, 2 3/4. And we're going to lay it on here again. 2 3/4. We will draw the line. We're going to do the exact same thing to make the triangle. So there's 2 3/4. This one you don't need that secondary score, you just need the half score, okay? And then the length from the 2 3/4 is, let's see, it is only to the point, it's 5. So we want to come down 5 inches from that point. So let's come down to here, and we'll make another mark. So that will be, so from here to here is where we're trying to go. And remember I said I couldn't really do in the middle, so we did a fold. Let's do a fold again to find our middle of this piece. I'll just make it a whole lot easier. We'll just put a little point right there. So that will be it. And remember what we wanted was from there to this point. And that was actually, I did it pretty well. It was pretty much on the fold. So we'll draw our line, our one line, and here's our next line to make, what is this, an isosceles triangle? Am I remembering that correct? And there we go. So that wasn't that hard. It's not that hard once you make your marks and then just connect the dots, right? And there's that part. To there. There we go. And then this will be on the back. Now I'm not going to add this one yet because we're going to cover all this first and it'll be a lot easier if it's not on. But we have everything trimmed out correctly. Let's make our final score line so when we go to use it, it will work, right? And then we can set that piece aside. We'll set that piece aside and we'll begin to cover the journal and make it beautiful. There we go. I am using probably a cheaper grade of manila folders. There are thick and heavy ones. I don't use those. First of all, they cost more money. And I buy some of them, but I only buy 10 or 15. But I buy a whole box of like 50 or 100 of these really inexpensive ones from Amazon Basics because they give you some tooth, make something strong, but not super strong that it's impossible to do. So this will fit right on there when we come back, and we'll just be adding that. So we have our journal. All the parts are put together, and now we get to play and decorate. In the kit, I created a piece of paper, and then I've cut it apart, and I created it knowing that I wanted each of these to go down the side pockets. Now, because my printer doesn't print no border, what happens when I cut it is, you can see this little bit of black in there, which of course I don't like. Now, if you printed this with no border, this may not be a problem for you. So I'm just going to show you what my solution is going to be. My solution is going to be I am going to put tape in there. I'm just going to put some washi tape in there and cover that up so that when this lays on top of it, you won't even notice it. So I'm looking at, look at this cute little elephant one. I pulled out all my purples, which I never use. Funny. I'm using them now. No, I think I like this one. Let's see. And remember that some of this tape, my tape is ancient, literally. Because when washi tape first came out, I went nuts and bought it. And I was always buying it. But I never really used it, which of course, that's kind of typical to a lot of crafters, right? So I'm going to, I put some of the glue on it so that that's not going to be an issue. I don't want to worry about it pulling apart. Plus, this makes this a little bit sturdier, stronger, I guess, if you want to say that. There we go. Get over there and trim that. That's done. Now, when I put this gorgeous piece on, see how now it's just edged in purple, which looks excellent. And then you have to decide, because this is obviously 8.5 by 11 and the envelopes are not that size, which end do you want? Do you want the butterfly totally, or do you want some numbers? I want the numbers on this one, so I'm going to cut off the bottom. So go ahead and add your glue. You really want to make sure you go on the edge with this beautiful fine tip, because that means you'll get it nice and sealed well. And then I just put a little bit throughout the middle. So I am going to be, I don't want to put my head in the camera. Let's see, I'm going to line this up on there. Okay, Diane, get that up there straight. And let's see, did I make it totally straight? Yes. There we go. Now, I did not put enough glue. I can already see that along on the top of the washi tape, so I'm adding more so that it really seals nicely. And just that little hairline of purple is now not a problem. The hairline that was white is now purple, so it's excellent. And let's move that, move this, trim this up on the side. There we go. And save that piece. We will use it. Looking nice. And let's do the same on this side. I can use the same tape. Again, you have to decide what you want to totally see. And I want to see these tickets that I added. I think I'm going to use the exact same tape. Just for consistency, that's all. Up to you. As I said, you may not even have to do this step because your paper may have printed. Okay, Diane, that was fun. Put the glue on the wrong side. Okay, there we go. If I turn this a little bit, it might be easier for me. The other thing I want to remind you is that when you see the coloring on my pages from this kit, you too can get that same depth and gorgeous lifelike coloring if you print on matte photo paper. I print everything on matte photo paper. I started printing digitals a couple months ago on copy paper because I was thinking, oh, it's so expensive. And then I couldn't figure out why my things that I was making weren't as vivid and as beautiful, and it's because of the paper that you printed on. I think you can have any kind of a printer for digital prints, but the paper is the key. Paper is always the key. And watch my quick little video that I made about paper. I show you exactly the papers that I use. I print on Koala brand, which it's just so not a little bit straight, which I get it at Amazon. So there's 2 different weights of Koala brand matte photo paper. This one that I use primarily is 33 pound. And then there's a 48 pound. And I print, when I set to print from a digital kit on my printer, I look at the background pages and I print all my background pages on the 33 pound. That's, to me, that's all I need. It's a nice paper. It's not too thick. When you come to the ephemera part of a digital kit, that's when I sit there and stop and pay attention to what the page number's on, and I change the paper out in my printer, and I go ahead and print anything that has a tag or an envelope or something like that. I run that through and print it on the 48 pound. Oh, I'm doing that wrong. I was going to do it this way. The 48 pound paper. I have just found that it is fantastic. You get the same beautiful depth of coloring in the print, but what you have is a nice weight and some, okay, I'm talking instead of getting this all lined up correctly. And especially if you're printing tags, sometimes I don't have to then edge them on manila or cardstock. So it's up to you, but that's just my printing tips. Wow, I'm having a hard time getting this straight. I guess it's trimmed just a little bit. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna make it as straight as I can, and then I will trim it. I'll just trim it, or I'll edge it with ink. Finally, that's on there. Flip this over. And there we go. Yes, I love those 2 pages. I made them specifically for this type of a journal, just to let you know. They're like giant tickets or business, a piece of business mail or something like that. So that's going to go there. This is going to go here. So here's the thing you could do. You could actually print this page twice and use these again on this part and this part. That's up to you. I did not do that. I'm going to use some different pages from my kit. So right this second, let's pull a couple, and I'm going to audition. Now this will just fit, and I think you have to figure out what you want to see in that middle that kind of coordinates with that. And of course they're not trimmed, so I'm gonna have to stop and trim these. So why don't I do that? I'll be right back. All the papers are cut, and I started to audition. And I realized instead of working on the inside for right now, what I want to work on is I want to pick my cover, because that's the cover meaning this part specifically. So the length that we've made this point totally takes up this whole sheet. And then this part is going to be a different piece. And I'm okay with that. I think that I like this one the best because we've got the flower, we've got some writing in it, it's got some good interest so that your eye moves around. So I'm pretty sure that's the one that I'm going to pick. Let's go ahead and put on the glue. Let me move that. I'm gonna glue this. We're gonna glue it right to that edge. So again, I want to come down, make sure that I've got my bead of glue on the whole edge. So I'm really liking Art Glitter Glue. Yes, if you first look at it, you'll say, what? How much does that glue cost? But I will tell you that if you see how, do you see how fine the points of what I'm actually taking out are? The fact that you can make so much out of one bottle of glue, okay? That to me, I think that it is a good value. It will last a long time is what I'm trying to say. And I tried, before I committed, I bought the one bottle this size with the metal tip and the pin on it. And I think that was $15. And then I realized I love it. So then I went back and got the refill kit with the big bottle, and I got an extra bottle with it. So I have 2 of them here. And what I do is when I want to put glue on a big surface, I'll use this one because it comes out thicker. But primarily I really use that one. And the secret is do not lose that pin. Do not lose the pin that comes with it that you'll see me always trying to go back and find. It has to be a stainless steel pin, okay? Because otherwise the glue reacts with a non-stainless steel pin and messes up your glue. So you have to stick with that. And there are some women who decided to make these really pretty jingly tops on there with beads and stuff. And I thought they looked so good. So I ordered one. And I'm sorry to say that it is beautiful. The beads are all beautiful. But I don't know, it was not, if it was on a stainless steel pin, it was on some very thin stainless steel pin, because the third time I used it, the pin bent and I couldn't even get it in there. So I just stick with the pin that comes with the kit. If you know any other better solution, let me know. I tried to order just some stainless steel pins, but they cost a lot of money. And then I read somewhere where somebody said, they're really not stainless. So I thought, why am I going to order that? To find out it really wasn't stainless, because I know that it has to be stainless steel to work with this glue. So I'm just sticking with the one that I got. Oh yes, look how pretty that came out. Yes, and just enough little writing on there. Yay. Okay, so that will be, it's going to be my front. And we might as well go ahead and add on to this, which of course this isn't enough, but the pieces that we just cut off would be enough. Ooh, let's put the writing. Oh no, wait, what did I just do? Oh, it'll work. It'll be at an angle. Yes, that's kind of fun. Do I have enough on there? Yes, I do. Okay, let's do that. So the angle piece that I just cut off, I'm gonna put it back on the top. And we'll just trim around it, because I love, well, obviously I designed the kit. So of course I love the kit, but it's fun to make a kit and then other people purchase it and make things and then say to me, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So that makes me feel really good. It's encouraging that I'm on the right track. I've been designing things for a very long time, and it's nice to know that not only do I like what I made, but other people do too. Now, let's see if I can twist this so that I can trim it. Oh, that's gonna be quite interesting, Diane. I probably should have cut it. I'm gonna trim this really quick so that I can get it closer. I'm just gonna trim it too big and then we'll trim it. That's the better idea. And then let's talk a little bit about the topic of this kit. So what you'll find when you get any of my kits is that I start with what is the idea, what is the biblical thought, what is the Bible verse, what is a topic from the Bible or what God teaches me that I want to journal. Basically, that's the question I say to myself. What do I want to journal? And once that comes to me, and that's through prayer, definitely through prayer, because I am not, I like to tell you that I'm so wonderful and this is all my ideas, but to be honest, I'm going to tell you that I think the ideas for all my kits come from God. And so I'm just obeying him when I end up creating something. Now this one I have to be careful that I can, because I'm cutting sideways. So let's see. So the topic for this kit, as I said, is God says she is. Now, if you go on the internet, you're going to see a ton of Pinterest things and people all talking about, I am this and I am that. And that's kind of focusing on ourselves. And I believe that God is telling me, Diana, this is not about you. This is about what I'm doing in you. And you can become this if you follow me, keep my commandments, and live for me. So that's where I come from. And of course, I trimmed this incorrect. Well, we're just going to have to go with it. So the thought of how this kit came about, as I mentioned, I see all these things. People say, I'm strong. And that's when people are having issues and troubles, and they'll say, just be strong. Just do all that. Well, we can't do anything. Remember the verse, I can do all things through Christ? And it has to be through Christ. So I decided to look up if I took any of those words that people give you as advice, right? I started realizing that there's a whole bunch of promises, and these really are promises. These are promises from God. This is what he says to us. You know, if you follow me, okay, we have to go back to this other, that's the fold, and then we need the other fold, right? Yes, there we go. I think I'm gonna, well, no, I already started. I was gonna wait a second until the glue started to dry. We'll try it. that should work now. So there's our little fold over. Okay, that works. Yes, that works. So we've got some other pieces left. So anyway, what I was saying is, if you look at, let's just take one of these verses. So she is beautiful. And yes, I think we have to have enough self-esteem to live this life, because life is very difficult. Jesus never promised us life was going to be easy. But being beautiful is more about who you are as a character, not who you are physically looking. And if you look at Ecclesiastes 3:11, he said, he has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Let's look at that really quick. He has made everything beautiful. So if you're beautiful, I believe he created you to be that way. And more importantly, have you ever seen somebody that's absolutely stunningly gorgeous physically, but yet their heart and their character, you don't want to be anything around them? So it's basically, he set eternity in our human heart, which knowing that when we pass away from this life, we will have eternity with God in heaven. That's what eternity is all about. But we can't even fathom what he's done. So to me, saying she is beautiful is really about even Romans 10:15, which says, and how can anyone preach unless they are sent? So a lot of people say that they're called and yeah, they can do everything, that they're a preacher and that. And I'm not saying they aren't, but you have to be careful. Are they preaching God's word? Are they preaching an interpretation? How can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. So I would call someone beautiful who is a godly woman and who shares her faith, and she shares Jesus, and she shares the good news. That's what makes someone beautiful. So you're going to find that throughout all of the 10 characteristics that I've chosen to put in this kit. And that's what you get to make the kit about. I think that this, I'm excited to make this because I want to make it, and I think it's a great gift. What a wonderful gift to a woman who is a godly woman that you see in your life, and you want to give her encouragement. That's the best gift you could give her, is to make this and give it to her and leave parts for her to journal and for her to look up those verses and see, how she reacts to that. Okay, we're on the next part of adding the envelope. So as you see what I'm doing, I want to see what I cover this envelope with is going to be seen from the front. So do I want to use one of my focal point papers? And that's what I call, I usually give you 8 to 10 focal point pages, meaning they just stand alone. Your eye goes everywhere. They're full, they're collaged, they're beautiful, they're wonderful. But you can't have everything with a focal point piece of paper because then your eye has nowhere to rest. So I also always include background pages that complement, obviously, and give your eye some rest. So I have this on here, and I like the words. Yes, that could work. Now let's audition this. And don't forget, if you go back to my example, we are going to add one thing on this front cover, and that's going to be the little pocket. So this piece is going to stand alone, okay? But a lot of them, you end up, the background is there, but you cover it up. So that's why sometimes what I call background pages are very complimentary. And to be honest, I think that makes this more of the focal point by using that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, I have to cut this. I'm going to turn it over because it doesn't matter which way it goes. We're going to trim this piece of paper. I'm going to trim it on my guillotine so that I don't make it, so that I get it straight. Let's put it that way. Because sometimes Diane's cutting is not always straight. I wish my eye was great, but it's not. Because, of course, I've had cataract surgery, so I have to wear little granny glasses to read. Okay, we've got that. Now, why is that acting that way? And let's trim this. Oh, you know what? I think I'll leave that. I'll trim that with my scissors. Yes, we've got that piece, and that is ready to go on there. Yes, I like that. So we'll open it up, put our glue, and hopefully I was talking some, oh good, it's coming right out. Sometimes I talk too much and forget to cover my glue, and then I go to use this and it won't come out. Because it's very fast drying, yeah, you should cover it when you're not using it, and I'm going to cover it right now because I know a couple steps I have to do. Let's match that up. Wow, I cut nice and straight. Yay! There we go. So pretty, pretty, pretty. So I'm thinking this is coming out in plenty of time before Mother's Day, which is our next big holiday. Maybe you have a woman in your life, your mother, your aunt, your grandmother, somebody who has been a strong witness, or you just are mentoring somebody and you want to share the good news. You want to be beautiful, like I just talked about, right? You want to go and share that news. Make this and give it away as a gift. What a wonderful gift. Now, if you have your grandchildren near you and they are of age to craft, hey, get this kit and make it with them. How much more fun would that be? Now this one, we can have some colors because as you can see, you don't really, you see just a little part of it. Do I like that part or do I like the words part? I think I want to do this on the words part. Let's do that, and then I'll have the flower right on there. That will work very well. Okay, so we want this piece. So I'm going to measure it again and cut it on my guillotine. Of course, I should know what those are, but I'm not going to go there. And that will go there. Let's trim that piece. Okay, let's get that lined up. Excellent. And we are going to fit it down at the bottom. Oh, and look how pretty that looks when you open it up like that. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Remember, run your bead, and then fill in. I can't wait for you to comment on this set of videos. This is going to be a set to make this. What you think of the kit, what you think of the study, who you plan on making this for. Is it for yourself? Is it for a friend? Is it for a family member? Please share that with me. I would just love to hear how hopefully as you look at this, you look at the kit, that you get inspired to be encouraging to someone else, to compliment them, or to teach. Could be used as a teach. Could be that you have somebody walking around that just thinks they're the most beautiful thing in the world and they have no idea that their character doesn't really match the way they look. And so maybe this will be a great example in a great way. Oh yes, look how pretty that looks. Yes, so pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, let's cover these other envelopes. We'll get all the parts covered. And then I think what we will do is, that will be the end of this first video. So now this part in the very middle, go back to our example. So we open these two up. In this one, remember I sewed in a signature, which I'm going to do again. And then I have a pocket here. So I think it's more, you want to look at what's the top. Okay, what's the top of the page that we're going to see. So let's find another piece of our powerful paper. Interesting. Am I going to say the same thing for this? Am I going to say we need a backdrop, that we need a background? That goes like that. That's like that. Because these are two really strong sorry, they're not totally in the camera. They're really strong pieces. What if we did that? Now that looks pretty. If we picked up this dark purple and just a little bit of the flower, that could work. Okay, I think I like that. Pencil, pencil, Diane, where is your pencil? So this fits the whole sheet. It'll just be short at the top. Let's see, I'm going to mark that right there. And I'm trimming it right there. Oh my gosh, how did I cut that so crooked? I just cut that crooked, didn't I? Okay, I sure did. Well, I guess that's not gonna work. It's way off, Diane. Okay, I made it way off. Oh, that's too bad that I just did that. I really like that piece. Well, we're gonna have to go with another piece and be very careful cutting, Diane. Maybe we put more of the gold in it, like I thought. That would work. Wow, I can't believe I just, well, I can use that piece somewhere else, but that makes me mad that I didn't. I used the guillotine and I still didn't cut it right. And what did we say? Maybe you just mark it and cut it that way, Diane. That would probably be smarter, wouldn't it? So that envelope is 4 3/4. So that's what I'm actually going to do. I'm just going to cut it from the 4 3/4 mark. That's what we're going to do. 4 3/4, and I want that. So I'm going to have to turn it this way and go 4 3/4. There we go. Now let's see how straight I can get this. Come down here. How straight do I have it now? That looks straight. Please be right. Otherwise, I will be printing more paper. Yes, now I cut it correct. Okay, let's set those pieces over there. Oh, that's so pretty. Because, okay, let me stop and think for a second. Because I'm going to be, let me look back over here. You know what I did on this one? I used a background in there because we covered all this up, and I kept the powerful print on the inside because you don't add anything to it. So even though I just cut that for there, we could use it on the back because it would be the same. I'm thinking that we should use one of my other pieces. So that would be that, so I wouldn't use that. Oh, we could just do it, make it really simple. Look, just use the lines. Yeah, Diane, the stripe. I think I like that better because that way we can put something powerful in the top part. Let's do that. Okay, we need 4 3/4, and I make sure it's nice and straight. Oh, I think I'm going to like that much better. And then I won't feel so bad covering up something beautiful. Yes, that's a better idea. Then maybe we could put that up on this piece. Let's see. Let's go back to gluing. Oh, I'm sorry. This is getting to be long. I apologize. I guess I can trim. I could speed some of this stuff up, but then you wouldn't hear me talking about focal points and things like that and help you understand the art aspect of it. Stick that on there. And there we go. That goes there, that goes there, that comes like that. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's turn this over here. Now, some of the white is showing, so what I'm going to do is put a piece that will cover that up. Those pieces that we trimmed, no, not the right piece. Let's see what other pieces. When you first start, you don't have a lot of pieces. Oh, I love that piece. Let's put that on there. I like that. And we'll just trim it to there. Make that squared off. I mean, make it straight is what I'm trying to say. Oh, Diane. Okay, wait, why am I having a hard time? The minute I go into the cutter, I want to cut this like that. So we want it over, and we want it probably about, oh, I can only cut it to there, Diane. That's why you cannot, that's why I was trying to straighten it out. So let's just trim this a little bit, and then I think it'll be easier for me to trim inside the cutter, because I can only keep what's already there. Let's see if we make that. Oh, okay, I don't do well with these cutters because where you're cutting is way in a different place. The guillotine is at the edge. This is not at the edge. Make sure it's straight. And I had that on this table, so I didn't always get the big guillotine, but then it's too small, so whatever. I'm going to overlap that a bit. I think will give us some strength. I'm going to overlap over the paper, and I'm going to overlap over the fold is what my plan is right here, to give us strength, because this is the flap that will be opening and closing a lot. And if I'm going to trim, it's going to be trimming that part off. Okay, do I have it to the edge? No, I don't. Nope, I didn't go to the edge on all that. So you can always overlap. If you have little parts that, oh, they're showing, right? Just overlap the next piece on it and it'll just cover it right up. So once we do the back and the inside of the flap, I'm going to stop this video and you can come back for the next parts. So as I mentioned, the inside of the flap is a piece that you definitely see. So let's see if we can use a focal point piece. As I mentioned, that's what I call these pieces. And do I have enough? Yes, I do. I have just enough. We've got some of that beautiful writing on there. Can't put it this way because then the writing's upside down, which would look weird. So we are just going to put it on like that. So let's go ahead and put the glue down to the point. Go over that just a little bit. Got it on the point, and now we just have to center it on the rest. Yes. And I might as well just go ahead and put that down. So I'm overlapping that again onto that piece that we just added. That's okay. There we go. Yes. let's trim this. Okay, I've got to get this straight and in camera. There we go. I love making these unusual types of journals. I think this is unusual. This triptych with the points just looks so beautiful. As I said, this is not Diane's idea. Diane is making this because I watched Donna from Twisted Paper Studios. She made this back in December, and I just loved it. And I bought her kit and made the prototype that I keep showing you. So when I was designing this kit, I thought about, oh, that would be so much fun and so feminine to make this triptych again. Yes. Okay, one more piece, and then we'll be all finished for this episode. And let's see, that piece that I trimmed that wasn't straight. Well, it's still not going to be straight on here, Diane. Yuck. Okay. The back, what does the back look like over here? I used a nice background piece. So I think I'm going to use a focal point. I'll just trim one that I like. Oh, I love with the writing in the middle. Doesn't that look great? So let's match it, and we're going to cover that just a bit on there. Okay, yeah, I think that's the piece. Looking at some other ones, a lot of gold. No, let's just use that. We're going to use this piece. So we're going to go back over there, make sure we have that. So if this is the first time you've ever made a triptych, leave me a note and just tell me in your comments, this is the first time I did it, Diane, and I love it. Or, oh, I've done that before and I do mine differently. And if you do it differently, share what you do. If you have a video where you made it and have a video, please share it with me. I'd love to see other versions of this. As I said, I'm copying off of Donna, so I'm adding my little twist to it as, you know, we're making this, but primarily it's from Donna's idea. She's another very prolific YouTube creator. So I've talked to you about, I always watch Kathy's garden videos because she posts every day and I get a lot of great ideas for ephemera from her. So those are probably my go-to for, oh no, I just bent my pin. I was pushing too quick. Uh-oh, remember what I just talked to you about, this pin. Don't mess up your pin, Diane. Oh, there, okay, got it back in. Let's trim this and then I'll show you and we will be finished for this episode. There's one side. This needs to be, am I cutting this close enough? That's what I'm trying to make sure. Oh, trying to twist my hand. Now, I also sewed on my sewing machine on that one, and I'm going to do the same thing. So when you come back for the next episode, you're going to see that I have sewn on this. Look how beautiful it is. So let's quickly look what we've accomplished in this episode. We started with 3 envelopes and a manila folder, and we came up with this. I'm gonna have to move the camera down. And the trifold triptych. Come back and see all the fun parts that we're going to add. And more importantly, that we're going to make this all about God says she is.